Have you ever seen those people who, in the middle of a chaotic, exhausting, incredibly demanding week, very calmly switch their phones to Do Not Disturb, put on their oldest sweatpants, and smile at an empty living room, instead of rushing out to a crowded bar or dinner party to blow off steam, while the rest of the world is desperately trying to distract themselves from the stress of life by surrounding themselves with loud music, small talk, and a packed schedule? The homebody does the exact opposite. They retreat, they vanish, and they look completely at peace doing it. Most of us think it's because of a lack of social skills, overwhelming shyness, or maybe just plain laziness. We look at the person who always cancels plans and we assume they just don't know how to have fun. But the truth is, it has absolutely nothing to do with disliking people, hating the world, or lacking charisma. Some of the most charming, successful people you will ever meet are secretly desperate to go home. Once you understand the deep biological roots of why some people actively crave being in their own space, your whole perspective on the world, and maybe even the way you view your own weekends, completely changes. Psychology, specifically through the work of researchers like Dr. Brian Little and Hans Eysenck, has come up with a concept called restorative niches and optimal arousal theory. It means that every single human brain has a baseline level of stimulation that it can handle. For some people, their baseline arousal is naturally very low, meaning it takes a lot of external noise, crowds, and activity to make them feel alive. But for people who love staying at home, their internal baseline is naturally very high. A simple conversation or a trip to the grocery store floods their nervous system with data. So they require a restorative niche, a physical, quiet environment where they can retreat to literally lower their brain activity back to a safe, comfortable level. But why are some of us wired this way? It all starts with our early environment and how we process the world as kids. Think back to a specific moment in childhood or the general atmosphere of the home you grew up in. Maybe the outside world, school, playgrounds, family gatherings, felt loud, demanding, and overly critical. When sensory or emotional overwhelm first happened, the brain learned that the only place it wasn't being asked to perform, react, or defend itself was in its own room. The brain learned that the outside world extracts energy, and the inside world protects it. It learned that home equals baseline regulation. What makes these people different is their tolerance for ambient stimulation. They process details, emotions, and environments much more deeply than the average person. For them, a busy social calendar is not like an invigorating playground. It's like a smartphone running on 1% battery with 20 heavy apps open at once. It's draining. Home, on the other hand, is the charger. When they are sitting on the couch in silence, they aren't doing nothing. Their nervous system is actively working, processing the week, organizing their thoughts, and rebuilding the energy they lost out in the world. But here's the thing. Sometimes this love for staying at home isn't about healthy energy management. Sometimes it's about a defense mechanism, specifically avoidance. There is a shadow side to being a homebody. Some people lock the door, pull the blinds, and ignore their friends because they had no way to escape the fear of rejection, failure, or unpredictability in the past. They aren't staying home because they love their space. They are staying home because they are terrified of the outside. They use their apartment not as a sanctuary, but as a fortress. And slowly their world shrinks until the only place they feel safe is a prison of their own making. But the healthy version of these people are those who act not out of fear, but out of a deep curiosity and love for their inner world. For them, the goal is not avoiding life, but consciously curating it. They aren't hiding from reality. They are leaning into the joy of missing out. They stay home to read, to bake, to create art, to connect deeply with a partner, or simply to enjoy the incredible peace of their own company. They know exactly who they are, and they don't need a crowd of people to validate their existence. If you're watching this and you feel like you don't fit into this healthy category, if you realize you've been isolating out of anxiety, or conversely, if you constantly feel deeply guilty just because you want a quiet Friday night, remember that it's not a personality flaw. It's just old history and old wiring trying to keep you safe. Your nervous system is just doing what it was programmed to do years ago. And the good news is that the architecture of the brain can be changed. You have the power to rewrite what safety and connection mean to you. If you want to break this cycle of guilt or avoidance, start here. Stop making up fake excuses when you want to stay in. Reframe staying home, not as a lack of plans, but as a completely valid, active choice. This week, schedule a home date on your calendar. Block out a Friday night or a Sunday morning, write it down, and treat it with the exact same respect you would a meeting with your boss. When someone asks if you're free, just calmly say, "I actually have plans tonight." You don't need to tell them your plans are with a cup of tea and a good book. Own your space. Because true peace isn't about escaping the world. It's about finally coming home to yourself. Thanks for watching. If this shifted how you see the homebodies in your life, or how you view your own need for a quiet night in, leave a comment below. Keep protecting your peace, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video.